Hey, this is Match once again. We're about to in a video. This is a paid request for the movie reviewer next door. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Shadowboxer from 2005, which actually movie reviewer next door reviewed it on his channel as well. And nice job with the review, by the way. I definitely agree with him. I thought this was a pretty bad movie. It's directed by Lee Daniels, the same guy that directed Precious, the film that got all the accolades and award recognition. And he also directed The Butler, which didn't have Forrest Whitaker in it. So it's crazy that some of these films of that caliber, and he had directed this film that was pretty much a direct-to-video Cuba Gooding Jr. joint. And not that well directed. I mean, not only do you have Cuba, but you got Helen Mirren, you got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, you got Bodite, who would be in Precious. She's even called Precious. Like, her name is Precious in this. And then she played someone who didn't like Precious in that film. Stephen Dorff is your main bad guy. So Basie Gray, for some reason, is in this. So you have some recognizable people in here. But this movie is flat out boring. Boring movie. And it's funny, a lot of the advertising, like there's a couple posters of this film, and each one of them is like Cuba with a gun, trying to make it seem like it's a direct-to-video action movie, thriller, but it's none of those. It's not an action movie. There's very, very little action. It's not a thriller. It's a movie that the director is trying to be very quirky, but not for comedic sense. Trying to be, I guess, different, unique, but it comes off more pedestrian and incompetent and like a bunch of rookie mistakes. Like, oh, I'm going to do this because it's different. Okay, but is this different meaning good? I mean, the way the opening starts, where you have a mom that's getting beaten, and you have this kid with a gun, and kind of accidentally shoots it, and the dad comes in and goes, well, we got a killer on our hands. And the kid's like looking up to the dad, and the way like the camera pans, and then there's a shadow, and then they kind of interpose the kid's head in the shadow, it just made it look more cheap and clunky than stylish, which I guess the director was going for. And later on we find out who that kid is Cuba Gooding Jr. grown up. Where he has Helen Mirren, who's his stepmom. They're both contract killers, and they're both lovers. So not only do you have the Oedipal complex of a guy and his mom, but in this case his stepmom, but also the age difference between Cuba and Helen Mirren. And listen, Helen Mirren is a good actress. I never thought she was sexy. I never thought of her that way. So for her to get love scenes with Cuba, now you don't see much of her, but you see Cuba's derriere, which I didn't need to see. And there's a bit where they're in the woods later on, and he's screwing her brains out, and she's moaning and groaning and ready to orgasm. I never need to hear or see Helen Mirren have an orgasm. That was not on my call sheet. It was not on my bingo card. It never was. And then again, I think she's a good actress. Maybe she's a nice lady. Do I find her attractive? Honestly, no. Let's be mean. I'm just being honest. People would be honest with me, so I'll be honest with them. I just not who I look to Helen Mirren for. And I don't know if her and Cuba had much chemistry. Or maybe it's just more Cuba, the way he plays the character is very... He's supposed to be a contract killer like Helen Mirren, and they do jobs together. I guess they're going for he's about his job, he's straightforward, he's supposed to be icy cold. He sounds more sleepy. He looks more sleepy. Talk like this and very monotone. And Cuba, he's getting to the direct-to-video era at this point where sometimes he would do a film like this, then he would do a film in theaters like Norbit. And, after he won his Oscar for Jerry Maguire, which I don't think he deserved, he's good in Jerry Maguire, but I don't think Oscar caliber. And here's the thing, Cuba Gooding Jr., I thought, did more in Judgment Night. I'll be honest, that's a very underrated film with Emilio Estevez and Stephen Dorff, funny enough. Speak of that. And that was a more of a substantial role for Cuba. Boys in the Hood. Definitely much more substantial role for Cuba. But Jerry Maguire, other than Show Me the Money, and he was good in the film, I just don't think it was Oscar worthy. You could be good and not Oscar worthy at the same time. And then after that, kind of killed his career, that and doing films like Boat Trip. I don't mind Chill Factor as a movie, but it bombed. But I don't mind the film. I thought it was fun for what it was. Could have been better? Hell yeah, but I like it for what it is. Yeah, Boat Trip was awful. Norbit was a hit, but he had a supporting role. It was awful. He was in Daddy Day Camp, the sequel to Daddy Daycare, and then tried to be an action hero. He did one film with Dolph Lundgren that wasn't that great, One in the Chamber. There's one I didn't mind. It was like a horror action film, and he played a soldier, and I think Henry Rollins was in it. The Devil's Tomb. I remember that being okay. I actually remember not minding it. He didn't... No. He did like other direct-to-video films that I really don't remember much of. Because while I do like Cuba Gooding Jr. as an actor, I think he was better suited. Although I did not mind him Devil's Tomb, so there are exceptions. But for the most part, I think he's better suited for films that give him much more of emotional range. When he's trying to be the tough, badass, monotone guy, I don't think he's the best at pulling that off. Are there exceptions? Yes. But for the most part, when he tries to be a badass, it's a bit hard to take him seriously. It's a bit hard to be believable in that venture. And times like this, he just sounds sleepy. It's nappy time. Okay? So, I don't think Cuba was that great in this. Helen Mirren did what she could. Her character is dying of cancer, so there's definitely a ticking clock for that. And the plot of the film is they have a job to kill this woman who you find out is Stephen Dorff's lady, who's this bad guy, mob guy. So they go in, but they find out she's pregnant and she's ready to give birth, and Helen Mirren helps her out. And because she's dying and she wants to have something decent to do, she takes the woman and the baby, and Cuba doesn't really want to do this, but he goes along with it because he's in love with his stepmom, Helen Mirren. They go ahead and do it, and then it's pretty much a lot of them just kind of hanging out in their home. And Cuba looking pissed. Or just being... not really saying a lot of words, not a lot of dialogue. Sometimes flirting with Helen Mirren. Which at times comes off as more awkward than anything. Like there's a bit where Cuba, he still does a contract killing, but keeps his secret that this woman and the baby are there with Helen Mirren. So he'll come home, he'll do like try and do a dance and try to seduce Helen Mirren, take off his clothes. And it just, Cuba and Helen Mirren, it made me more ew than anything. Which I don't think was the intention. And then they do it with this like rap song that, I never thought I'd see Cuba undressing to seduce Helen Mirren while a rap song is playing. Just weird choices that just seem to be done just for weird sake. I mean, it's not that action-packed of a movie. Like I said, when the two, they do this job, when they do their, I don't know how to put it, their contract killing job, you don't get to see a whole lot. Steven Dorff, the first time we see him, this guy apparently screwed his wife, and he's mad at him, so he has him tied up on a pool table, gets a pool cue, jams it up his ass, but it cuts away. I mean, maybe thankfully. But they pull his pants down, he does this, and it cuts away. So you get the idea he jammed a pool cue up this guy's ass. Once in a while they do slow-mo, but it's that really bad looking. This is what I'm talking about, how it's like rookie mistakes. If you don't do slow-mo, don't do the slow-mo that looks like a shuddering effect. If you don't do slow-mo, learn from John Woo. Hell, even learn from Zack Snyder, even though he overdoes it. Don't do it where it's like the slow-mo that you don't do from the beginning and you decide to use later. So they try to do it in post. But it just comes off as much more awkward, clunky type of, again, like a shutter effect of a camera. It just doesn't, it just gives off a cheap aura when you do it that way. The other people, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's a doctor that will help mob people or contract killers. He's alright. I mean, I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but no one's going to remember this performance and his filmography. His girlfriend is Monique. Macy Gray, the singer, she's a friend of Dorff's wife, and they're talking on the phone before it hits the fan. And then one of the contracts after that Steven Dorff wants is to get rid of Macy Gray. Macy Gray is the worst actress in this movie. She sucks golf balls through alligator assholes. She sucks. She sucks because she can't act for squat. Anytime she talks, she sounds drunk. Hey, how's it going? My name is Macy Gray. And I'm telling you, where's your wife? I don't know what's going on here. And did you put my drunk in my drink? What? Do I need subtitles? Why do you sound drunk? She sounds drunk before she gets drunk. She sounds drunk before she gets drugged. Or poisoned, however you want to put it. Why would you even cast her? Like, she's in like 3 scenes. She's on a phone that she talks to Steven Dorff, and then she goes out with Cuba Gooding Jr., and then they go back, and then he poisons her. The end. Did you poison my grape drink? Is a fly in the ba-da-da-da-da, I care. Cuba, what are you going down there? Just sucks. Like, cut it off. And like, there's a scene where she's literally being picked up at the bar by Cuba. He's been hired to take care of her. And it's like, yeah, men, you cut it off. And throw it away. Give him the slip and throw it away. It sounded like she forgot the lines. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like she forgot the lines, and she's trying to remember them. It's like, yeah, and throw it away. Give it, like, and then she like cut it off. Jesus. And then pretty much just kind of, you don't really get much of Cuba Gooding Jr.'s emotional status, meaning you get from his facial sternness that he's not gung-ho about doing this, but you don't really have deep conversations between him and Helen Mirren. You don't really have deep thoughts where he has these emotional outbursts, or maybe contemplating, is this the right thing to do, or, you know what, she has very little time, and these people are taking her away from me. There's really not much conflict. There's not much drama. You think, again, is Cuba going to have some drama where, no, this is not the right thing to do, or no, this is not what we should be doing, or you only have limited time left, and I want you to spend it with me, not with this baby and this girl. There's really no conflict, and there's no drama between the characters. It's kind of just Helen Mirren having a good time, the mom take care of the baby. Cut to maybe Steven Dorff almost randomly getting a knock on the door, and he comes out and sees a couple people and says, listen, what I tell you about talking when I'm fucking. And he shoots these two people, kills them, shoots the guy in the foot, just so to call Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who goes there, freaked out why I'm being called by Steven Dorff in the middle of the night. Oh, this guy got shot in the foot. Okay, I'll fix it up. And then that entire scene could have been completely cut out. Granted, Steven Dorff, I think, is the best in the movie. I like Steven Dorff. He's trying to have a bit of fun as a guy that I think at one point he has like a pet zebra. And but he's in it very little, undervalued, underwritten performance. Should have got a lot more screen time and a lot more lines, just a lot more stuff to do. But he's not in the film a whole lot. Oh, and you get to see Dorff's wiener. At least I guess it was Steven Dorff's wiener, unless they put a fake one on. Just when he gets up, he's like, you see it dangling there. I'm like, well, so I get to see Cuba's ass and Steven Dorff's wiener. Again, I just have Helen Mirren's boobies, and that'll be the trifecta of things I never need to see in my life. But we only got 2 of the 3. And then it like cuts to, it's been a year. Because the kid has his 1-year birthday. I'm like, okay. And you think, okay, is there going to be some drama? Is there going to be story of Cuba is like, this is enough and blah, blah, blah? No. Just Helen Mirren going, and this is again the spoilers. Spoilers. Helen Mirren going, I don't want to die from this cancer. Please shoot me. So they decide to do it while they're having sex in the woods. And as she orgasms, she wants to be shot in the head. Okay. And then it's supposed to be like this big emotional tornado turning of his mind, where as he's screwing Helen Mirren, he's reminded of when his dad tried to kill him, and the stepmom, a younger Helen Mirren, killed the guy to save him. And it's just a weird juxtaposition where it's trying to be like, it's supposed to be his emotional state of the woman that saved him, he's now got to kill her. But at the same time, when this is happening, in the middle of her moaning and groaning and orgasming, it just comes off more laughable and more just clunky editing than anything. Maybe not do it, or maybe not have the scene while of sex. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's good. I mean, maybe that's why they don't do that a lot, because it comes off more laughable than anything. More unintentionally comedic. And again, the movie's just boring. There's not much mystery. There's no mystery. There's not much thrills. It's like, oh, there's Cuba getting whipped as a kid. The scene Cuba's ass, mess with Helen Mirren, then cut to her saving the kid by killing the dad, to her having to kill her. And then you think, okay, now there's going to be some emotional baggage of, well, the reason I was around this mom and her kid was because of Helen Mirren. Now that she's gone, is he thinking, well, it's time for me to move on? Or you're on your own? Or you know what? Maybe show scenes in between that he warmed up to this family. Something, anything. There's some kind of conflict in his mind. No, I'm going to do this because she promised me. Which she does say that, promise me. But maybe like he has thoughts and he has temptations to call this whole thing off. Like, you don't really get much of conflict in the mind of that. Because then it cuts to, like, I don't know, the kid, a big time jump where now the kid is 7 years old. Or something like that. 6, 7. Which means, that means it's been at least 5 or 6 years. And the mom will look at Cuba, and then she'll imagine, like, Cuba in the like, she looks at Cuba in the shower, and she'll imagine diddling herself while watching Cuba in the shower. Now, if you think that's going to lead to anything where it's going to be this kind of love story, he's never had really a normal love life because the only one he's had is the stepmom. It's him having to deal with... No, there's none of that. Nothing deep. Nothing of that sort. Well, does it need to be that deep? When it's advertised as an action film, the reason it's called Shadowboxer is that every once in a while you see him boxing and you see a shadow. That's called Shadowboxer. Monique and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Monique finds Joseph Gordon-Levitt messing with a patient. So then Monique has the bright idea to go tell Stephen Dorff. Which, of course, it's been 5, 6 years, but nobody else has aged except the kid. That's the thing, like, it's been 5 or 6 years and nobody else has aged. I mean, 5 or 6 years, you do age quite a bit. It's not like 5 or 6 months. This is 5 or 6 years. But again, no one's aged. And again, Monique tells Stephen Dorff. Oh, the way they show this is clunky too, because you don't know any of this yet. You know Joseph Gordon-Levitt cheated on Monique. And then you get Cuba kind of told by the mom, we don't need you anymore. But he's like, no, I want to stay. He does a hit. He feels bad. He doesn't want to do this hits contract killer stuff anymore. It's one of the few and only times he does have some emotion. But it's just too little too late. Then Stephen Dorff arrives and his men arrive. And then, like, Stephen Dorff's looking at the kid, and then they throw all this exposition where he's looking at the kid, and then, oh, Monique went into Dorff's place and told Stephen Dorff what's going on, and then Stephen Dorff got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and then killed Monique and shot Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I don't know if he killed Joseph Gordon-Levitt, just all we see, he shot him in the leg. The men have Cuba Gooding Jr. Spoilers, they cut off his finger. The mom and the kid are there. And it's like the only fight scene in a very badly choreographed, more so the bad stuttering shutter effect of the slow-mo, where he's like fighting people, and it's like pa, to the pa. But it's like done in slow-mo. That again, I don't know how else to describe the slow-mo. It's the cheaper kind, the shutter camera kind. It just looked really awful. The kid kills Stephen Dorff. Even the way this other part's done, where Cuba's supposed to finish off the people. So it'll be like, he walks up to the camera and then shoots. Then it looks like he walks up to the camera again and shoots. Then it looks like he walks up to the like he's out of frame, he walks in the frame, shoots. Then he's out of frame, he walks in the frame again, shoots. He's out of frame, walks in the frame the third time. I'm like, why is he shooting? I thought he shot. It was like some weird way of showing that he kept shooting Stephen Dorff. But no, apparently it was him shooting the other people. Just the way the director did that. It's like, I go do this because it's different. Well, it wasn't good. See, I thought this film sucked. Helen Mirren and Stephen Dorff did what they could, but Stephen Dorff's barely in it. Helen Mirren, she's a capable actress. She's a good actress. She's too good for this movie. Cuba Gooding Jr., he's not the best in that melancholy, icy cold demeanor. Again, there are exceptions. Like I said, I remember not minding him in The Devil's Tomb, from what little I remember, but a lot of those films, he's just not, he's not Wesley Snipes. You know, he's not Michael Jai White. He's not Carl Weathers. He's not any of those guys. Doesn't have the stature of Dolph or Van Damme. He's not that type of guy. There's very, very, very little action. At times, the film tries to be a bit pretentious, where the score is trying to be very opera-esque, as if the story is so much more deeper and important than it really is. Not much drama in terms of Cuba. You think he'd be more argumentative or more confrontational about what Helen Mirren decides to do, but that's not the way. He seems much more... He may have a stern face, as far as he does. And like I said, some people with him holding a gun, they don't think it's some action film. They're going to be very disappointed. So, I was not a fan of this film at all. I thought it was very sluggish and very boring. But that's just me. Well, also him. He thought... Movie Reviewer Next Door, he thought so too, so... But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.